What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
This podcast contains language and themes of an adult nature and is intended for a mature audience. Hello and welcome to the Three Busted Barstools podcast. You are joined by Beric, the coach, the doctor, and myself. How are we, gents? We all good?
Fantastic.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic.
We're in high spirits. We have a lot to get through today. I suppose first up, it's the coach with his good, bad, and ugly. Then it's Beric with his rough and tumble. Might have a quick break, and we'll return shortly after with the doctor's orders. And then finally, to round out the shit show, it'll be the Sasquatch Scoop. How are we, lads? What sport did you tune into? What's happening out there?
Just watched a good bit of GAA this weekend.
Yeah, there was a
lot of games on.
Yeah.
A repeat of the semi-finals of 1920.
Some years.
Great result for Tip.
20.
Great result for Cav.
Great result for all teams involved. Really,
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Huge
But,
achievement winning your provincial title. You know.
Yeah, not a good weekend for myself. Between the Irish rugby, the Meath performance on Saturday night, and Philadelphia's performance last night, which I'll get to. Obviously, my best result this weekend was a spirited 0-0 draw with Leeds, and that really sums up that weekend for me. So that was a tough weekend.
Leeds were unlucky there.
Yeah,
Yeah, didn't they hit
Not
the
even
bar
gonna
like
argue.
3 times?
not even going to argue. Pepe sent off for a headbutt as well.
Did he actually headbutt him, or was it a footballer's headbutt?
I missed the
It wasn't
instant.
a Zidane type. It was.
That was a
just
footballer's headbutt, but it was
headbutt.
just you just can't do it.
Yeah, especially with all the cameras on.
Yeah.
On footage at the minute.
Sure, Arteta came out himself, didn't he, and said, it's just unacceptable.
Yeah,
You're putting yourself in risk.
personally missed the incident between the jaw.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone saw, but Manchester United, how lucky! Oh my god! I'm sticking with my prediction.
Yeah.
I gotta stick with the prediction.
Very lucky, I have to say.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's bizarre how like an incident like that happens twice in the one season in such the early stages. Because it happened to De Gea on the opening day against Crystal Palace as well. And then,
But to
it goes
get
and
a
it's
penalty
still-
awarded against you and then turn it over as well, which was, to me anyway, it was a blatant kick. It was very peculiar that it was even questioned that the ref had to go and then go against himself. Whatever about VAR going against him, but going against himself then. That was peculiar. And then and then a penalty where should it have been given? It's one of them again, isn't it? It's I don't know.
Yeah. I suppose in addition this week we've had, I think the NBA world has gone crazy. We would have had the draft on Wednesday of last week, and then thus erupted kind of a bit of a free agency spree as such. I suppose there's still a few pieces left to fall in place, with Harden and Westbrook likely moving on from the Rockets. Obviously the number one pick, Minnesota going with Edwards in the end. I suppose I had picked LaMelo Ball, but he fell to third with the Charlotte Hornets.
Who was second?
Second was Wiseman, went to Golden State Warriors.
Very good.
Very good. And obviously Golden State Warriors now have to deal without Clay as he tore his ACL. Or his
Achilles, isn't it? Yeah.
Achilles on the return from an ACL.
Yeah.
Hasn't played a whole lot in 3 years, has he?
No. Well, that's going to be 2 seasons he's missed in a row. Back to back. Hasn't really played since, I think it was game 2 of the final series against Toronto. Willing to be corrected on that.
We're all willing to be corrected on something, That's why we have such a good thing going.
If you can't tell, it's a little bit tense here, folks. We've had I'm not going to get into it, but we've had a spirited debate between Beric and the coach. So tensions are frayed. there may not be a final episode to the season.
This is the final episode.
There may not be a second half of this episode. The way things are going.
Anyway, I suppose plenty to get through. We've also got another entry into the fan competition we're running. So if you go to our social media platform, Instagram is that of choice. We're giving away a fan giveaway over the course of the last 3 episodes. This obviously being the second of those 3 episodes. So there's just one last chance to get your hands on a £60 gift voucher for USA Sports. All you have to do is just comment on the post, tag 2 of your mates, and send us in your best fan question. Either Instagram DM, pop us a voice note, there's a link in the podcast description, or alternative, if you know any of us, pop us a WhatsApp voice message. To kick us off, I think it's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Are we ready to start the ball, Coach?
We are indeed. I will get the clock going on myself there. So this week's good. Lewis Hamilton last week won his seventh world title in the Formula 1 Championship. Obviously takes him above Schumacher to number 1 spot of the Formula 1 drivers. So yeah, 7-6, 94 wins versus 91. So what I want to know this week is Ronnie O'Sullivan came out during the week, commented on Lewis Hamilton, and has basically congratulated him, and to quote him, says it's fantastic for Lewis to win the world title, but if your car is faster than everyone else on the track, you can afford a few mistakes. I wouldn't have felt good about any of my titles if the pockets were bigger than my opponents. So I want to know what our feeling is on Formula 1 personally. I think to stay top of your game, no matter how fast your car is, it's an incredible amount of mental capacity to be able to keep a car going that fast on the track, never mind everything else, through weather conditions, whatever, whether your car's fastest or not, and to keep pole position. But what do you think around the table? Is Formula 1 a real sport, I suppose?
I'd say it's a real sport, but I'm not incredibly knowledgeable when it comes to Formula 1, but I do know there is significant advantages depending on the car, and certain teams, as such, for want of a better phrase, do tend to have better cars depending on the year. Now I know it does fluctuate a little bit, but I do know McLaren. It's McLaren Hamilton's bit, isn't it?
Yeah, Mercedes. Yeah.
I know this season they do have the better car. So I get where Ronnie O'Sullivan's coming from.
Really?
Yeah, in a way, yes, because it's always anyone that's big into the Formula 1 will always say, she's got the easier car. Do you know what I mean? And people who actually know, if you listen to people who know about it, they go, yeah, look, it's going to be very hard for anyone to beat McLaren this year. You know?
Dr. Berwick?
Wouldn't be my game. I don't really have an opinion on Formula 1, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I'd be similar. I know fuck all about Formula 1. I just have no time for your man Lewis Hamilton, but outside of that,
I do think there's a lot of mental. It's more a mental aspect to it, I think, though.
You have to be a bit mental to be driving a car at whatever, nearly fucking 200. How fast do they go now? Like
nearly 300 miles an hour.
Jesus.
300 miles an hour, do they?
300 kilometers. Sorry.
Yeah. So around 200 and something miles an
He's
hour.
going to the moon.
Yeah, 200 odd mile an hour, like, or whatever. But like, you'd want to be a bit mad to be doing that. But it's just one thing. I've never been into it. I don't think I'm ever gonna get into it. Races go on for hours as well, don't they? Like, I
don't know if you've watched the documentary on Netflix. It's very good about the Formula 1.
I've been told this.
It's a very, very good.
Yeah,
good
I have been told it is good, but like one of my mates is mad into it. Like, watches it like any time it's on. Like, I just don't have the patience for it, to be honest.
I suppose the thing for Hamilton is that he's now going to obviously he's made history, but he's going to continue to make history because he's still quite young. So he's probably got another 5, 6, 7 years in him to keep going. If he doesn't pursue his hip hop career, I believe that he's kind of dipping the finger into.
Or if he wants to retire because of the effect he's having on global warming and stuff.
I was just about to say that.
It's always nice to have a backup when you're a career.
It's quite ironic to say how people eating meat is affecting the carbon footprint of the world, yet you drive a rocket ship for a living. But look,
and fly all over Europe to do so.
In your private jet. But look, Who are we
But
to
yeah,
say anything?
there is a tremendous amount of, I suppose, bottle is the only word I can think of to throw yourself into corners at that speed. And while I do appreciate it, I think it's kind of a weird sport. I think it's, if your owl boy likes it, you tend to like it.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's
very
similar to
hard
horse
to-
racing, isn't it?
It's very hard to track new fans and stuff, I'd say.
Yeah. Or bad. This week's bad
horse
news,
racing.
lads.
Now, horse racing or like dressage and show jumping, because they're like,
No, they're not sports. No.
Thank you for clearing that up.
This week's bad news, Neil Lennon. It's been a bad week for Neil Lennon, or a bad weekend. Celtic drew 2-2 with Hibernian yesterday. Reports last night over Twitter from a couple of sources claiming that Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane have been lined up to replace Neil in the next week or so, depending on how things go. And what I want to know is, have Celtic, let me rephrase that, did Celtic ever replace Brendan Rodgers?
I think Celtic are just hitting a natural low after 10 years of dominating Scottish football.
They could probably do with Rangers to be a little bit better, though, couldn't they? I know Rangers are on the way up this year, aren't they? I couldn't tell you last time I watched games Scottish football.
Rangers are ahead, I think, by 6 points now at this point.
They've stretched it. It's like 11.
Stretched it?
but
They stretched after the draw yesterday, I think, as well. Yeah,
It might be no harm for them to lose.
Do you know,
I believe we
and-
had this conversation on the podcast about 3 weeks ago, and everyone went
Another-
against me, saying Rangers would be winning would be a good thing.
Well, see,
Yeah, but
my
the way you
issue-
phrased it, though, you were like you.
It's not what you said; it's the way you said it.
Yeah, you were just looking to incite a reaction.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
You're
If you had said,
you're a fisher. That's all you
yeah,
are.
if you had said, look, wouldn't it be great if someone other than Celtic won? We'd
Exactly.
probably have been in agreement. But you said, wouldn't it be great if Rangers?
Yeah.
You just twisted the screw a little bit, and you just
You
So what do we
tried
think?
to get a reaction out of it, and you've somewhat succeeded.
My theory on it is that Celtic have never when you get rid of Rodgers, you get rid of a philosophy, I think. And Neil Lennon doesn't really have a philosophy. He's a manager, but I don't think he brings a whole lot to the table in terms of building the club.
He's not a great manager, though, is he? Like
No.
Neil Lennon, but he never has been. Like, do you know what I mean?
I think he's a good plug.
How good is Stephen Kenny's philosophy
He
going?
hasn't had.
Philosophies are great until you don't have the players.
See, if you swap Stephen Kenny with Neil Lennon, I actually might get a bit of hate for it, but I actually think that's a good swap.
Oh yeah,
Stephen can build a philosophy. He's a club manager. I think we've established, or everyone kind of established this, and can bring players up and through. Whereas Liam Headland's a manager, show up 6 times a year, go on the gargle the rest of the year, and he's happy. You know.
but he knows how to get the best out of what he has. I think.
Yeah. So I think that'd be a
But-
good swap. Will it ever happen? Maybe not. Probably
not. No.
not. But Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane to take over, possibly. There's murmurings.
It's just not a partnership I managed.
Yeah.
I imagine's working beyond what it did.
Well, get this, to make it even a little bit better, what I read, whether it's true or not, is that there will be co-managers.
Oh.
With Guppy as assistant, Steve Guppy. So, how it'll work, I don't know. It didn't work at Liverpool with Gerard Houllier. So, look, that one remains to be seen. This week's ugly, Ulster Rugby, over the weekend, had 1,000 fans in against Scarlets for their Guinness Pro 12 clash. Pro 14 clash? 14 now? We're 14 now, aren't we?
Pro 14, yeah.
So with that, obviously the UK passed a bill today to allow 4,000 fans into games of Premier League. That obviously goes down depending on your tier of team. So tier 2 can have 2,000 and so on. And then also this week we had the introduction of, or I suppose the announcement of Conor McGregor officially fighting Dustin Poirier in Abu Dhabi. And they have announced that they will hold World Fight Week that week. So parties, beach clubs, gigs, extra fights, I'd imagine, fight night style fights and things like that. So what I want to know is, in sport in general, are we just being too greedy now at this point with COVID, obviously? I don't know if you've seen Instagram and stuff over the last few weeks. There's loads of influencers going to Abu Dhabi. It seems to be where they've all relocated to. So what do we think of both, I suppose, the introduction of fans back to grounds, and then I suppose that is probably the next UFC event that we're going to have fans at?
Like they've surely put precautions in place to allow this to carry on. Like I doubt they're just going, fuck it, let's just have fans back. Like there's precautions in place, I imagine, for it. Like No, would it be?
Well, no,
I
I
think-
suppose the precaution is coming with, say, for the football, for example, is the 4,000. But I suppose the question is, are we better off, instead of going little bit by little bit, just introducing everyone back at the same time when we know there's a vaccine available and everything? I don't think sport is really suffering at the moment, although, you know, TV numbers and stuff seem to be down at the moment. But
we had discussed this before. Like the area that's of sport that's going to be affected most by COVID is not your elite level. It's not your grassroots. It's that middle level. I suppose of the sports that could have fans back, the most easily managed is the UFC, because they're gonna, these influencers, whatever, are going to have to fly out to Dubai, and they are going to have to quarantine. They're going to have to fly back, and they are going to have to quarantine. People going to the game on a Saturday, looking for a dodgy bar for a pint. Every Saturday, multiple. Like I just think it's going to be very hard to manage pinch points, football fans.
away
Not
fans
being able to go
versus
to a
home
game.
fans, yeah.
Yeah, I just think.
The sorry, go ahead.
No, go on. No.
The international fight week thing that you're talking about, I don't think, kind of similar to what Sass is saying, like, I don't think it will turn around and be like I don't think me and you can go to it. Do you know what I mean? I'd say it's going to be a little bit more
upper class.
Yeah,
for a better phrase.
Yeah, for want of it, yeah, exactly. I think it'll be beyond the wages of the busted bar stools to get over to it.
You won't see the queues at the credit unions for Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. I'd imagine you'd be looking at probably upwards of 10 G's to even be near it. And I'd imagine they'll be kind of monitoring how many people are going to be in. I'm sure they've thought of it. Do you know what I mean? Like they're back technically doing shows since what? June, July.
And the lockdown one anyway.
Yeah. So like, I'm sure they've put a few plans in order for January. Do you know that kind of way? I think.
To be fair, the UFC have been fantastic for just giving two fingers to COVID from the onset.
Yeah, big Dana White and all his baldness just
They haven't
sitting
really
there.
had many cases either, to be fair, have they? So. And that brings us to the end of the good, the bad, and the ugly for this week.
The only case,
Thank you, gentlemen.
actually, just on that, the only case I can think of was actually probably the first one. Do you remember that?
No, there's been cases throughout.
There's been a couple, but there's never been a flare up, I suppose, as you want to call it.
No outbreaks as
Outbreaks,
such.
sorry, yeah,
it's
that's
been it's always kind of been like either the fighter has it or one of his team has it.
Yeah.
It's not like the whole
Yeah.
fucking crew he brought in with him.
Actually,
have
just
it, like, do you know
on
what I mean?
saying that, I digress a little bit, but watching the boxing last week, when Kate was fighting, last week before, and I noticed that the corner men are wearing the mask and they're wearing the face shield. Once the fight's over, all of it's off.
Yeah.
They're taking pictures and everything ringside. Like, it's bizarre.
I think that it's more for
Visuals.
it's more for show, isn't it? Like it's
seems
more
to
to
be.
kind of go like, this is what we're doing to support. I don't know if support's really the right word, is it? More so kind of like, this is what we've decided our precautions are and we're going to stick to them for the fight. Then,
it's
like you said, you go inside, like they step from one spot 2 feet to the left and everything's off. Everyone's hugging. People are
sharing
kissing.
Five Guys burgers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the NFL fining players for not wearing a mask on the sideline. Like,
Oh, that's visuals. Yeah.
yeah, come on. Like,
It's definitely image based. Like, it's just to be like, here we are being compliant with all the fucking rules and regulations or whatever. Me then, is it? It's moved to myself
nicely into
to
lyrics.
roof and tumble, as they say. The roof and tumble. This week was somewhat of a. Sorry, coach.
Go ahead.
Am I on the clock?
You're on the clock, baby.
Thank you. This week was somewhat of a quiet week in the Mama world. I think I picked my pick of the week this week was the Bellator that went on. Was on Thursday night. Yeah, AJ McKee beat Darian Caldwell by quite a strange submission, which you wouldn't usually see. It was a neck crank kind of guillotine. You wouldn't see it a lot. It's more so a submission that you would use to say it's more uncomfortable than a submission, if you know what I mean. It's will be something you'd use to make them move, not to say finish them, which was strange. Other than that, the Bellator was a bit not lackluster, but it was fine. Last night, no, not last night. Today is Monday. We're recording a little bit late this week. Sorry, guys. On Saturday night, we had Valentina Shevchenko beat Jennifer Maia by decision. She's kind of gone down the John Jones road of things of she's so dominant that like people are like clawing at anything to give the people that she's fighting around, if you know what I mean. Like she won 23 of the 25 minutes, and people were kind of, the commentators were kind of the, I don't know how to describe it best. Like they could have had an exchange and they both would have landed on each other, but the commentators would be kind of more so being like, "Oh wow, did you see that Maya has landed on her?" Even though Shevchenko probably landed the better shots, if you know what I mean. It's a bit kind of like any weakness they're looking, not even weakness, anything that they can give her, they'll give her. That kind of, she's clearing out her division now at the moment. She's only kind of lost to, if I'm correct, to Amanda Nunes. She lost it twice. She arguably beat Amanda Nunes once as well. So that could possibly rear its head again as being a trilogy fight. As well as that, who else was on? Davison Figueiredo beat your man Alex Perez. That was kind of, he's also clearing out his division. They actually scheduled him for a fight in 2 weeks with a fella who won on the prelims. So that's just like he's literally just wiping people out like in one round. He's kind of like Chimaev in that sense that he's not taking any damage. He's finishing up fights and around in a bit, and that's it. You know, we love a bit of full circle on the Buster Barstools. So Shogun, that spiked some interest. Shogun fought Paul Craig on that card. Shogun is 42 now, I think. Did not look himself, or Dana White actually came out and said he looked a shell of himself, and he got stopped by punches. So every week I feel like we're going on the should he retire? He should probably retire.
Well, just on that, I seen, and correct me where I'm wrong, the UFC failed to re-sign Anderson Silva.
They released him. So is this now what will be par for the course? Like, if will Dana turn around and go, look, we're releasing you, Shogun? Yeah, like hopefully that's what happens. And then see what I think actually fed into them releasing Silva was Scott Coker, who is the Bellator owner. They asked him in an interview, would he be interested in signing Anderson Silva, and he said no. So I think when Dana heard that, he was probably like, oh, okay, he's not going to fight then. Do you know, that kind of way? And obviously I don't know, but that could have came into the decision a little bit more. But like, kind of the same way that the Chuck Liddell thing went, like he got a fight on Oscar De La Hoya's MMA promotion. Like it's just a bizarre combination of words. And, you know, it's disappointing to kind of see when they get to that level. Like we talked about last week, there was a couple of guys that fought or 2 weeks ago, that fought on the previous card, like Arlovsky and all, and Glover Teixeira, who are in their 40s but still winning, still competitive, and not out there getting hurt, you know, that kind of way. But when you kind of look at these guys like Anderson Silva and Shogun, BJ Penn, Diego Sanchez, like they're going out there and like they're just taking years off their life. Like you're just looking at it going, you're being injured here, like, you know.
Speaking of older people who are fighting, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones
Jr.
Thank you.
Are fighting next weekend.
This weekend, no? This weekend coming?
So it's not Sunday. Sorry, it's Monday. You're right. Yeah, this weekend coming.
So what I want to know is, worth staying up for, or
no?
I know we're talking 4 or 5 a.m, but might we see a death? Like, would it be worth?
No, I won't be staying up. As far as I'm aware, they're wearing 16-ounce gloves and headgear. it's an exhibition. It'd be like sparring. It's a good
Sorry,
spectacle.
When I referred to death, I meant Jake Paul's fighting. Any chance of him, falling out of the ring or?
Possibly. There's always hope. It's the hope that kills you. Do I have long left there? Because I can. I have 4 minutes. Okay. The Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. one. It's a funny one because I think Dana White was actually asked about this the other day, and did you see they said that they're not like there's going to be no winner. There's going to be no judges officially scoring it, and they're not going to knock each other out. How in the name of God can you say that they're not going to knock each other out? Like it's all well and good, like in theory saying they're not going to knock each other out until one of them lands on the other one, and the competitive like nature of two world-class athletes takes over. Like, do you know what I mean? Like those lads be boxing the head off each other in like if it was a game of Monopoly. Never mind in a fight. Well,
it's like that thing I was telling you. I mentioned before. Your man Lyle Alzado used to be a linebacker, I think, for the Oakland Raiders. He fought Ali. Lyle Alzado died because of steroid abuse, but they did an exhibition fight, and your man Lyle Alzado put 6-8 weeks good work training in, and he's competitive El Bucco, and Ali was too good, and he was just dodging him. And your man Lyle Alzado, I'd say his 199th swing, he just caught Ali flush, and I'd say Ali just finished him in about 30 seconds, just out of pure rage. And that could happen easily. Yeah.
See, the only thing that would stop that is I think they're both like there's a level of competitiveness in the sense of they're both world-class boxers, or were world-class boxers. That it's not like you know, kind of when one person is at such a high level compared to the other that they only have to do something for 10 seconds and they're gone, like, you know, that kind of way. This will be a little bit more competitive. In keeping with my question that I like to ask the squad every week, as coach just touched on there earlier, McGregor is officially fighting now, 23rd of January. My question is, will you be on the bandwagon?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
You will be.
Yeah. I'll probably buy a UFC t-shirt and everything.
Is that right? Okay, well, that's
incredible athlete. But yeah, no, I'll definitely be on it.
Well, sorry, the real question I was going to ask was, are you going to be on the bandwagon even... I'm not going to say bandwagon. Are you going to stay up and are you going to watch it even though the, let's say, extracurriculars and stuff that's been going on behind the scenes with him? Are you still supportive of him, or are you against it?
This is in Dubai as well, is it?
Yeah, so they're saying it might be closer to Irish time, as in,
you
know, a more reasonable hour. But yeah, I know his extracurriculars and all that sort of stuff, but he still draws a crowd. Like, that's why he gets the big bucks. Like, I'm still gonna watch. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily supporting him or either looking for him to get knocked out, but it spikes my interest. Just like, I don't know, I don't support Man United or Man City, but I'd still watch it. Do you know that way?
Yeah, so that's kind of the question I'm asking. You're more so just watching it for the spectacle of it, as opposed to the support of the athlete.
Yeah, I think so. But I like him. I really like Poirier. Like, he is fighting Poirier. I really like Poirier. Would have been anyone else, I'd probably say I'd really like to see McGregor win, but I actually like to see Poirier do well because he's obviously a few years younger, and I could see him kind of, I wouldn't say controlling the sport, but being a big name in the sport for the next few years.
Say, there's a year in the difference between the two.
I thought there was 3, but yeah. He's definitely younger. He looks a lot like, athletic wise, he looks like his body hasn't gone through as much. But it probably has. I'm sure he's been knocked
definitely
out numerous
more
times.
Yeah, gone through more probably if you were going down the abuse rate. I am similar to yourself in the sense I really, really like Poirier, and it's going to be very tough to watch McGregor knock him out in 2 rounds.
You reckon? 2 rounds?
Yeah, 100. Yeah, if even.
Look, if anything, I would like to see a knockout, be it one or the other. But yeah, things way up to. It probably is going to be McGregor. You
never know. It could be a 5-round Diaz style war.
That would be incredible. I think that's everyone wants.
That's what everyone wants. It's more so the kind of head and the heart debate here. Like, I'd love to see that, but I think, and I'm 97% sure McGregor's going to stop him within 2 rounds.
And I don't think McGregor would have taken the fight had he thought it would go the distance, would he?
Might have done.
I don't think that's.
I suppose.
I don't
The
think
question
unless
to
he
ask
wouldn't
is that,
leave,
like-
I don't think he would.
I suppose since their last bout, has Poirier increased to the level that McGregor has probably dropped off a slight bit. Like,
See,
I don't think.
it's very hard to say that he's dropped off because he hasn't. Like, what has he dropped off on? He's done the. Like, if you look at,
Probably when he fought Alvarez, he was. I think that whole kind of period of time.
he's the best fighter in the world by a country mile. Yes.
Yeah, but I don't think he's there now. No, I'm not saying he can't get back up to there, but he just kind of was on. There was momentum in there as well after.
But what would make you say that he wasn't on that level because of the Khabib fight that he was taken down in?
Not even that. It's just the length of time between. Like, he fought Cowboy Cerrone. Cowboy Cerrone just didn't put up to him on the night. I don't know. He probably is. Like, I think maybe.
What I'll leave you with, from my point.
Okay.
The Alvarez fight is probably the best version of McGregor we've ever seen. Arguably one of the best fighters of all time, based off a specific performance, if you know what I'm saying. The thing you need to bear in mind there is that it was a stand-up fight. By the time Alvarez had even tried to take him down, he had been dropped twice. That's where the Khabib one would differ, in the sense that Khabib had no interest in striking him in the first 2 rounds. He was going to take him down. When then you look at the fight after, so we'll just say his last 3 fights. So it was Alvarez, Khabib, and then Cerrone, 2 of which were stand-up fights, and 1 wasn't. Both of which were stand-up fights. He finished in probably less than 9 minutes between the 2 fights. Poirier is a stand-up fighter. He's a boxer. He's a southpaw. He can grapple. Probably won't though. So I think striking wise, no one in that division is going to get near McGregor. Like, you have to bear in mind that he did fight Floyd Mayweather, which everyone's saying is like, oh yeah, but that was like a freak show fight. Arguably it was. He did do a specific boxing training camp for 10 weeks. Like, his boxing improved in that time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but like, that's what, 4 years? 4 years ago? 3 years?
Be 4 years ago, yeah. But it's like, it's work in the bank. You know what I mean? It's money in the bank.
I know, yeah. Yeah.
But that's me.
Skills increase and decrease, though. No?
Yeah, but he hasn't not trained for 4 years.
I'm not debating that. No, I'm just saying, is it to the level pre Mayweather? Do you know what I mean? Is there scope for regression in skills based on offsetting proper 12? And I'm not here like trying to say he's not going to win it.
But
I'm just wondering.
But you can only go off his last performance.
Yeah, fair.
40 seconds, knocked him out.
Fair.
We move from there.
When was just out of interest? When was Poirier's last performance?
He beat Dan Hooker in
3.
over 5 rounds. Went to a decision. No, but he lost the first 2 rounds. Okay. Dan Hooker doesn't hit his hard. Now, having said that, I sound like I'm very anti-Poirier here. If Poirier was fighting anybody else but McGregor, I'd want him to win, and it's going to upset me when Conor beats him. But here we are. You know, this is how it goes.
Anyway, when we leave it there,
Great, I'm going home.
Quick word from our sponsors.
Money messing.
We'll be back after the break. Hi everyone, It's the Sasquatch here from the Three Busted Barstools podcast. This episode and all episodes in season 2 are produced in partnership with the Square Ball. The Square Ball is located just off Marion Square. It has dozens of screens showing televised sport and award-winning barbecue, making it the perfect spot in Dublin to catch the game. For more information or to book in, please visit the-square-ball.com. Thanks. Hello and welcome back to the second half of the penultimate or maybe ultimate episode of season 2. So why don't we get down to it? Your weekly dose. It's the doctor's orders.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, so I'm gonna read out a tweet and then I'm gonna put it out to everyone to have a discussion about it. So
Do we have to guess who it is? You, McKenna.
No. So
Thank
last
God.
Sunday, Marcus Rashford sent out a tweet saying, "Okay, so let's address this. I'm 23. I came from little. I need to protect not just my future, but my family's too. To do that, I made a decision at the beginning of 2020 to start investing more in property. Please don't run stories like this alongside references to campaigning." And it was in relation to a headline and an article in the Daily Mail or Mail on Sunday. And it says, "What a result. Campaigning football star Marcus Rashford has bought 5 luxury homes worth more than £2 million. On a scale of 0 to we're out to get you, how bad is that?"
Oh, it's
Probably a 25, I'd say.
Where is the crosses? Where is my hood?
Yeah.
Is
Absolutely.
where it is.
It's very, and the guys who actually wrote the article also done pieces for The Sun as well, so that goes to show you.
Two bastions of journalism there.
Yeah.
down with the sword.
Gutter
But
journalism.
it just
that,
to go on, like, in how footballers can get targeted, and it always seems to be the black footballers as well, because if you remember from 2 years ago, speaking of The Sun, they put up a headline saying Raheem Sterling picks up bargains at Primark.
I was literally just about to say that to you. That was what I was about to say.
Despite his 180k a week wages. Like, so what if he shops at pennies?
There's a second part to that as well, because a similar article was ran a week later or a week previously of him in a Louis Vuitton tracksuit with a Louis Vuitton bag and a pair of Gucci runners, saying that he shouldn't be spending as much, or look how lavishly he's living. Like, what do you mean?
I suppose, like,
do you also remember the one about him where he has the gun on his leg,
The AK-47.
the tattoo, and they went ballistic that he's promoting gun violence? Like, I think he came out and had a fairly not noble reason for having it, but
His
it
father
was to
was
do
killed.
with by a gun.
By a gun.
Yeah, I think.
Like,
I don't agree.
But it was.
Yeah, I don't agree. Yeah, sorry, Sas, go on.
I say it was a reminder to him to work to promote, not promote, but to get youths away from gun violence, and that was the inspiration behind that too. Look, that's his belief. Maybe it's a bit out there, but just on the Raheem Sterling one, I'm pretty sure, and I'm willing to be correct in this. Someone mentioned that in recurrent days in the Sun, there was an article about Phil Foden buying a home for his mother and saying how great of a lad he was, and the next day, or maybe it's vice versa, Raheem Sterling buying a home for his mother and how much he spent and how ridiculous the amount of money he spent, when both accomplished the same thing. They put their parents in a home without a mortgage.
Yeah, it's, man, I suppose, like, how bad are the British media at fueling racism, really, in sport?
It always seems to be the northern clubs. You notice that? It's never really the London ones. Like, the London players seem to get away with it an awful lot. I don't mean get away with it an awful lot. I mean, they kind of can go around about their life, I suppose.
It would be demographics. Up north, there is a higher concentration of
lower income.
No, I meant as in ethnicities. Like,
okay.
I think there'll be a higher. Like, London is a melting pot of creeds,
Everyone.
ethnic
Just easy
minorities.
to say everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone.
tiptoeing the feces.
Yeah, just it's there's like if you've ever been to London, you walk down the road and it's like you wouldn't know. Like say if you were an alien and you just landed in the middle of London, you wouldn't know who was. Well, I suppose they're all natives, but you know what I'm saying. You know the point I'm trying to make. The only thing, like I always think about this, like you know the whole the Black Lives Matter campaign as such that's been going on in America. I never usually think about that, and I'm kind of and then obviously when that all started and it was like, oh, there's so much racism going on, and obviously we wouldn't have to. I don't think we see it as much over here. Now maybe we do. I could be very wrong there, but like you see things like that, and then you just go, oh no, wait a sec. It is a severe problem. And it's always happening. Like with football, like footballers, we'll just stick on the footballers for the moment. Like, but like they are always being targeted. Like
always, yeah.
And like Rashford's should be up for a fucking knighthood, not like getting attacked in the papers.
Just on another point, just to kind of, I suppose, compare. Now I know David Beckham is retired and he's a lot older. And he does work globally for the likes of UNICEF and stuff, and they put it out, and I'm not sure if it was the Mail, it could have been the Daily Mail, saying this man should be knighted for his charitable contributions and his charitable work. Whereas, like, if you look what's going on there, like it says in Rashford's tweet, he's only 23 and he came from little as well, and it's why he's fighting for the causes that he's fighting for, but he doesn't deserve to have a headline in the paper like that just because he spent money on property, like, to secure his and his family's future, basically. But yeah, he has his MBE, and I can see him getting a knighthood. When he's
you can almost see his downfall already, though, can't you? It's like everyone before him. Like I think if we're all being honest, Rashford's not good enough to be a Champions League or a top 4 player. I don't think. He's brilliant. Everything he does off the pitch is excellent and everything. And he does deserve to be recognised for that, but he's not good enough. So you can already see the headlines. You know, this is his downfall: spending money, too much time off the football pitch, etc. And it sells papers. That's the problem. Liverpool fans are going to buy it because they don't like Rashford. United fans are going to buy it because they just want to give out about what's been written about him. Like it sells papers, and that's the problem.
Maybe he's not good enough to be Champions League footballer, but he's good enough to be a Premier League
footballer. Yeah.
Absolutely. But it shows the lack of intelligence from these gutter journalists that they can, for one instance, say, hold on a minute, this is a professional footballer for what, last 4 or 5 years? That he hasn't enough money to start investing in property. That he's only got this money from campaigning for at-risk youths. It's madness.
Like, sorry, just to go back to your point there, Coach. He's only 23, like. There's a lot of playing in front of him, do you not think?
There's a lot of playing in front of him, but there's a lot of playing in front of him for someone like Aston Villa or Watford.
You not think he could possibly improve? Like, do you not think that he
could possibly play at the same level abroad? I don't think he can play at the same level in the UK. Sorry, I say in the UK, in England. I think if you're 23...
But does he have to be the star at United? I don't think he has to be the star.
No, but that's the thing. He doesn't have to be the star, but he could go and be the star at a lower club, I think.
But I don't think he needs to be the star. Like, I don't think his ego is that big that he's like, I want to be the star.
I want to be the top goal scorer.
I don't think so. But if United would go the way that they should go, I don't think he fits into the. I don't think he'd be in the first. He's definitely not in the first 11, and I question whether he'd be in the next 7 player in the 18.
I don't know. I don't think he's that bad. I think he's quite good, to be honest.
I think he'd be a great. I think he would work as a impact sub. Like,
I think he could be two signings away from the door. As
do you
in,
reckon
I
so?
mean, it's
because
two.
Wasn't he linked with Barcelona? Was it last year?
He was, yeah.
Or the year before, yeah.
Barcelona are just.
Well, Barcelona are just a mid-table team in the league, so I don't know what they're 12th.
Yeah, but to be fair, Barcelona linked this week with Joel Matip from Liverpool, and I'm a Liverpool fan. He's been great for us, very injury prone, but Barcelona's going somewhere that me as a Barca fan, you don't want to go.
Yeah, Barca are going through a dark period, aren't they? Like, really.
We digress.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I think I disagree with you in the sense that about Rashford. I think he is a good footballer, and I know you're not saying he's a bad footballer, but like I think he's better than you're giving him credit
Look,
for.
I
Is what I'd
think
say.
he needs to be as good as or better than Raheem Sterling. Was it 23?
No, he doesn't.
But
To
No, he
be
doesn't.
but is he not arguably as good? Like what age is Sterling now?
Doctor?
28?
Doctor,
Younger?
no.
Older?
Is he which? 28? No, he's not that old.
No, he's younger. Is
He's
he?
as good as Liverpool got out of Sterling.
Yeah, that was the point I was going to make.
Yeah,
Jesus, is he 25?
Yeah.
he's on the scene a long time.
Jeez, he does feel like he's been around years, doesn't it?
He broke into Liverpool when he was about 16 or 17. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Broken the
there.
Was it
QPR.
Sterling that
QPR.
Sterling that had to get a letter to miss his like GCSEs or something because Liverpool were playing away? Was that Sterling?
Could have been Jordan Ibe. Both of them came from QPR.
Oh, maybe it was him. Yeah, maybe it was him. One of them did. I think. Yeah, but Jesus, I didn't think Sterling was that young.
Yeah, but anyway, I think it's just wrong, that type of journalism, and it kind of needs to.
You see,
needs
and
to stop.
this is part of the greater issue. I don't think they realise that they are wrong, and that's the problem. It's this
Yes.
deep-seated,
Yeah.
hiding in plain
Racism.
sight racism.
Yeah,
It's racist.
Kind
Oh,
of
it's-
like,
but
it's
it's-
kind of like when Bono comes on and is like, you know, give to Troker, and you're kind of like, mate, you're worth about £1 billion. What are you asking me for money for?
Every
We're
time I
alright,
clap my
'cause we're-
hands, a child in Africa dies.
Stop clapping.
No, but look, I think it's one of them things. To all the listeners, get your media sources from reputable sources.
Yeah.
The Athletic, like if you have to pay for it, you have to pay for it. You know, just don't buy the red tops. Don't buy the Sun.
There's no point in
Especially
buying them
not
because they're all
so-
posted to social media anyway, so just don't support them.
Yeah.
If you want to read them and laugh, but
Yo, check
Don't
it.
pay
Call
for
Lil C's, tell that motherfucker to bring me some motherfucking weed to the hospital. Fuck that.
And that brings us to the end of the Doctor's segment this week.
Thank you for
I think
listening.
that's the best buzz we've had all season.
Definitely better than
The hoot.
the original noise. Yeah.
The nuclear bomb is incoming sound. Yeah. I suppose we good to start the clock, coach, and I'll kick into it.
Absolutely.
We're going straight in. No kissing.
No kissing.
Hit it,
Good to go.
Sass. Hit it, Sass.
Okay. I suppose initially I planned to do a segment on TV audiences, COVID and stuff like this, something that put you to sleep. But because we've decided to record on a Monday this week,
Thank God.
because we've decided to record on a Monday this week, I'm going to do something I never get a chance to do, and that is to review the NFL for y'all. Thursday's a big day. It is Thanksgiving. The old adage is football season doesn't start until you eat your turkey. And we're headed down the runway track to the playoffs. Playoffs going to be a little bit different this year as well, guys. Traditionally, 6 teams from each conference head into the playoffs. They've extended that this year to 7, which means bye weekend is only going to be awarded to the top team in each conference. At the minute, that's Pittsburgh in the AFC, and it is New Orleans in the NFC as things stand. Bit of history is going to be made tonight as well. LA Rams take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This segues nicely back into the Doctor's point. We will have the first all African American officiating crew. First time in NFL history. Following on, I think it would have happened a couple of weeks prior in the college game. Willing to be correct on that. I thought I'd read something similar. But I suppose I have to admit I called the Ravens as Super Bowl champions. I think back in season 2 we did a little preview to the upcoming NFL season. I don't think they're going to do it this year. I just think Lamar Jackson's having a bit of a second season slump. I don't know what you guys think. He does seem to be struggling a bit
Not a top 3 quarterback.
at present.
Yeah.
I suppose obviously last night, Sunday night, we obviously probably lost the rookie of the year in Joe Burrow.
And technically gained the rookie of the year, as in
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert now has
Yeah.
rookie of the year.
Unless maybe I don't think a defensive player is gonna win it, but Chase Young has been exceptional. He's
But it would have been
freak of a human.
it would have been Burrow against Tua next week, wouldn't it, or the week after?
Week 13.
Yeah,
week
yeah.
13.
That would have been a good battle.
Interesting one as well. Obviously, my side is the Philadelphia Eagles, currently tied in the NFC East. Well, the Eagles are top. They're 3-6-1, and we have a three-way tie for second place between the Cowboys, the Giants, and Dallas. They're all 3-7. But one of the fixtures on Thanksgiving is the Washington Football Team and Dallas Cowboys. So we will have a new leader in the NFC East before the weekend. Interesting stat, I suppose, is if any other team, barring the Atlanta Falcons, from the NFC was to enter the NFC East, they would immediately be leading it. It's got to be the worst division in football at present. And I suppose this is the argument. A lot of people would say, this is going to come back to bite me in the backside, would say, if you want to make the Leinster Championship better, take Dublin out of it, because it's a nice even competition. But this is the argument between parity and competition. And I suppose there's parity in the NFC East, but it's not a great competition. We'll move on swiftly.
There was no need to bring that up.
I suppose there's two sides left to get a bye week as well. So the Panthers Bucks, we've 6 weeks left. Gents, I'd like to know Super Bowl favourites, Super Bowl matchup, and the MVP. Go. Do you want me to start you off?
Go on.
Yeah, I'll go out. I'll throw it out there.
It's your segment.
I actually
you
think
walk away.
I actually now believe with the signing of Le'Veon Bell, KC are going to repeat. Obviously, it hasn't been done since 2003, 2004 with the New England Pats. I going out there. I'm going to go with a Super Bowl matchup of Kansas and Seattle. I just have a good feeling about Seattle. I don't think New Orleans. I think Drew Brees is just too old. Michael Thomas has been an issue all year. Obviously, Alvin Kamara is a freak, but I just don't think they're going to make it. I don't think Tampa's going to make it. So I'm going with Seattle at a push. And my MVP is... It's Patty Mahomes, but it's a similar one to the NBA one in that LeBron James is the MVP every year, but he doesn't always win it. I think Patty Mahomes is the best player in the NFL. And Rookie of the Year is Justin Herbert. So, where do you stand, gents?
Chiefs will win it again, I think. I think you're right there. I think they'll play the Buccaneers in the final. And it's hard. Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that like Mahomes is the best player, but will they give it to him again? Is up there. Do you know who I think has been brilliant is Josh Allen? If you were to
I was just about to
Go down.
mention his name actually. Where does he stand in your quarterback ranking?
he's top three. Top three.
His
Yeah, 100%.
His combination with Diggs has been critical.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And I think while you're talking about quarterbacks, this year, although he's been injured, it has been a good year for Dak Prescott in the sense that his stock has most certainly risen since his injury, as opposed to, and I'm delighted because it could have went one of two ways where they could have just been brilliant without him and everyone would have went, oh, see, Dak's not that good or whatever. Whereas it's gone the complete other way, and I'm delighted, to be honest. CeeDee Lamb, also for Rookie of the Year. I know he won't get it, but he's not a bad shout. He's been very, very good this year.
Some catch last night.
A serious catch, yeah. Sorry, MVP as well. Dalvin Cook could be up there.
He's a smoky. He's an absolute smoky for MVP.
He could be up there.
And King Henry as well.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's out. Jesus, yeah, especially after
Just
that.
on, sorry to cut across you, coach. I know you have a good take there, but on the whole Dak Prescott negotiations, another thing that's critical is how bad the NFC East was. If the Dallas Cowboys were out of the picture now, if there was two teams in the NFC East that were competent, I'd say the Cowboys would consider, geez, maybe we tank and make a play for Trevor. Maybe we make a trade with the Jets. They're actually, the Jets as well are the only team that's officially out, eliminated at this stage. So that's another thing that's probably working Dak's favour.
Yeah. Good. Man deserves to be paid.
Do none of you think that Pittsburgh, you'd like to see Pittsburgh get there? Seeing as everything they've done so far.
I will have to hold my hands up here and apologise to friend of the show, who actually said in
Week
was it
3.
the start of the first week? Was it the first week?
The first week of the NFL or the first week of the podcast?
First week of the NFL.
I think we were
I know,
about
well, it would have been-
we were about 3 weeks in, and you were like, Pittsburgh have done nothing.
Yeah, I said like, talk about one of the worst takes of the year. Like, I basically said they'd beat no one. Once they play a good team, they'll be found out. Big Ben is a myth. He's past it. It's more or less what I said. And I'm now clearing the egg from my face.
Interesting matchup this week. They're playing Baltimore. Baltimore are
They'll-
third in the AFC North. Cleveland are ahead of them.
Yeah, I think
Is it? Yeah.
I think they'd be beaten, to be honest. I'm not. For a man who's drafted Lamar Jackson in his fantasy football team, I'm none too plussed with what he's done.
I think you need to also wind up a little bit. How many quarterbacks did you have at the start of the season?
It's neither here nor there.
Is Cleveland coming into a bit of form? Are they going? Is OBJ a big loss to them, or do you think they're better off without him?
Their running game is immense. Between Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb now back, it's immense. They've great tight ends. They've David Njoku. I think he's actually injured at the minute, and they've Austin Hooper. They're two excellent tight ends. Yes, the deep threat.
Their defense is very good.
Deep threat is very good.
Good kicker. Everything like.
But interesting stat actually. Baker's win on the weekend. It means he moved to the most wins in the Browns stadium, overtaking Ben Roethlisberger. So a man
Jesus Christ.
who didn't even play for the franchise held the record for wins in their stadium prior to Baker.
How old's the stadium, or how young is the stadium?
See, a lot of it's to do with. So there was the Cleveland Browns. They moved to Baltimore, rebranded as the Baltimore Ravens, and then the NFL expanded and they gave back the franchise to the Cleveland Browns. So there's technically been two Cleveland Browns, different organizations, even though it's the same name. It's a bit confusing, but yeah. So since 2000,
Incredible.
2002 maybe.
And outsiders, wild cards. Anyone have a wild card? I know the doctor said the Bills, maybe with Josh Allen. I would love to see Miami give it a run, but they're probably too much in their infancy.
Yeah.
The Titans are always a good shout. Well, not always a good shout, but I think could be a good shout this year because Derrick Henry is a destroyer and can win games himself. Like so, and Ryan Tannehill's actually played very, very well this year as well. So
I think a lot. The success of Tennessee is going to be predicated on who wins the AFC South. I mean, Indianapolis 7-3, Tennessee 7-3. So whoever comes out first should get an easier run through the playoffs. And a home fixture to kick it all off with the second place team in the AFC South, likely still making the playoffs but having to go on the road. That could be critical.
they've been a bit of a surprise package to Colts, haven't they? Didn't think they'd be.
Frank Reich is phenomenal. He's the reason we won the Super Bowl. We should never let him go. You've seen the Philly offense struggle since he left, since that Super Bowl year. Like, I mean, I nearly cried last night. You're playing in Cleveland in the pissings of rain. Your quarterback is struggling, and you give Miles Sanders 16 carries. Give him 30 carries. You need to alleviate the pressure. Quarterback. Our style of play is terrible, and I think we're lacking an offensive coordinator, a la Frank Reich. He's done a phenomenal job.
Wentz is Wentz just doesn't have it. I don't think.
I don't know. There was a phenomenal stat. I must dig it out, the full details, but pretty much it was Wentz, the results of his plays when Doug Peterson calls his plays, and the result of his plays when he audibles. When he audibles, his plays are phenomenal. I think Dougie P might be the issue. I'm not saying Wentz is a godsend, but I don't think he'd thrown an interception when he
Check it.
audibles.
Call Lil C's, tell that motherfucker to bring me some motherfucking weed to the hospital. Man. Fuck that.
Yeah, and that's one I can get behind for every week.
Can I make a request though? Sticking with the same artist, can we play What's Beef instead? Because that is my jam as
Your go-to.
as a gentleman from the rough North East Mead, born in the ghetto. I can relate to that tune.
Progetto.
Yeah. So that's, I suppose, a bit of NFL coverage. It's going to get very intriguing now over the next.
So this
couple of
week is
weeks.
Thanksgiving, is it?
Thursday is
Thursday.
Thanksgiving,
So
Turkey Day.
is everybody playing?
There's three fixtures.
Three fixtures.
Texans, Lions. It's the early one. Then I think it is Washington Football Team and Dallas. So obviously whoever wins that is probably going to go ahead of NFC East. And then the Rams and the Steelers. No, Ravens and Steelers, sorry. That's the three games on Thanksgiving. Everyone else back on the Sunday.
Alrighty. Good stuff.
Kicking off early, Sky Sports by 5:30, 6 o'clock. Lock yourself in on Thursday. If you don't want to watch, no, I don't know.
Lock yourself in.
That day off.
Put on your seatbelt. Yeah, I suppose we have one.
We have fans, do we?
One fan question. This was sent to us by a lady called Marta.
So my question for the Busted Barstools, I want to know, who do you think will retire first, Messi or Ronaldo, and why?
Fabulous question, Marta.
That's probably the best question that we've had.
Jesus, be careful, John might jump.
How is
I didn't say that.
Has anyone checked in on John?
I did not say that. That was mentioned by the coach.
I can imagine, barring a catastrophic injury, that Ronaldo will play on till 39 or 40 like Ibrahimovic.
Because of how he looks
So
after
you-
his body, I
yeah.
think.
You'd say
I'd
Ronaldo.
say Ronaldo will
Yeah.
go longer, yeah.
I would say Ronaldo as well, but more for the reason that Messi seems to be unraveling in front of our eyes at the moment. Like the things that have come out about him over the last. See, you don't even know if they've come out about him, but you know what I mean.
There's no smoke without fire.
Okay.
Go on, you're right. You're dead right. Come on.
You know what I'm saying. I don't think that he'll settle into another club kind of the same way, if he does leave Barcelona, the same way that he has at Barcelona. And with that, I can see an early retirement. Well, not an early retirement. He's what, 34 now? 34, 33?
3-24, yeah.
33,
I think
yeah. He's
would I
in
be right
right.
in saying Ronaldo's 2 years older than Messi, isn't he?
Yeah, so Ronaldo,
Yeah.
I think, is 36 this year.
I'm a huge.
But like,
No,
it's
Ronaldo is 30,
still rocking.
Ronaldo is 36 in February.
Yeah, still rocking though. Do you know what I mean? Whereas,
Still banging them in.
It kind of comes back.
but and
go
in
on,
different places as well.
Messi-
Like, do you know that
Messi's
kind of way?
33.
Whereas, like,
Yeah, it kind of comes back to what we said about the fighting and retiring. Like,
miles on the clock.
yeah, who's gonna? It's miles on the clock, and
Messi broke through earlier though too, didn't he? Didn't he start playing for Barcelona at 16 against Chelsea, 2004?
yeah, and then was
Ronaldo-
threatened with a loan to Rangers, then wasn't he? But
Yeah.
how? Like,
Jesus, no one. That's like a prison sentence. That wouldn't have been. Holy God! Can he do it on a cold night in Glasgow?
and Dundee. No, but like, what I mean is, like, someone probably should tell them stop while you're ahead. Like, you look at the likes of, say, Vidic, Carragher, Gerrard. These players went out kind of close enough to the top of their game, give or take. Okay, Gerrard went to Galaxy, fair enough. Carragher went out to probably, with the exception of not winning the Premier League, probably as high as he could go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, would you not rather, if you were Messi, would you not rather do another year or two at Barca or even City and then just call it a day? Similar to Ronaldo. Like, what's Ronaldo's next move? I know he's linked with United, but like, that's a figment of United.
I seen
imagination.
I seen City. Well, obviously, you don't know how true it is, but I seen Sky Sports put up there the other day that City have closed the door on Messi move. So maybe they don't even want him.
I did see one about the City group though.
That's New York City, is it?
Yeah, they own the Melbourne one as well, and I think they own a French club as well. That he might maybe even do a year at City and then go to New York. I did see something
okay.
along them lines, that it would be a deal with the City group as opposed to just City,
Yeah, okay.
which would make sense. It'd be a natural come down, but
No,
I agree with you though. I think it would be nearly better to see, like, you know, someone who just goes, right, so I'm at this level and I'm just gonna go and wipe my hands of it and I'm off.
yeah, and it's a poor way to go out, isn't it? Like, I was thinking when he did when the agreement came about that he was staying with Barcelona, I was like, you know what, he's gonna go and do something special this year, Champions League or the league or something, and move on. But they're a shambles.
Yeah, they're really, really bad. And he's fallen out with Griezmann now as well, I think, from what I've read.
Was he in with Griezmann? That's been a disaster from the get-go, I think, isn't it?
But I think it's got more now. Like, there's personal beefs there now. Like, and what is it? Koeman came out. You don't know, obviously, what's being said in change rooms and stuff. But like, Koeman coming out and being like, they're having rows in the change room about like, you're not going to have it all your own way and this crack and this crack. Whereas you just don't hear that about Ronaldo. Ronaldo, obviously, well, there was a bit of he did have a bit of a spat at Madrid, didn't he? But he's gone to Juve now and he's still playing at quite a high level, and he will probably do the same for another couple of years. Like.
It's mad how when Ronaldo was younger and Messi was younger, Ronaldo was seen to have this huge ego, whereas Messi wasn't. And as time's gone on, they've gotten closer and closer, and I'd say even Messi's now surpassed him in terms of an ego. In terms of Ronaldo, America's an option, but I actually think Portugal is the option.
Do you know what? I was gonna say there. I was actually gonna say it about Messi. Messi's at a point, if you don't go out at the top, so say the only place he can go now and stay at the top is probably Man City, okay, or stay at Barca and finish there. The only way you compliment yourself by coming out looking rosy is if he goes back to Newell's Old Boys and finishes there, I think. So you're going down, but you're going down for a good reason. And I was just like what you said with Ronaldo. If he went out at Lisbon, it's a nice way to go.
It's like Arjen Robben is back playing with FC Groningen this season.
Yeah, it's a nice way to go because you're still going to be a decent player at that level, and you can go out after doing something special, I think. But who finishes first? I think, unfortunately, and I love him, and I think he's been the better one, but I think Messi could go first purely because his world seems to be self-imploding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the younger one, which is unfortunate.
Four Messi's there, is it? Yeah. Now 2 years ago, I'd have never said that.
No.
I also think of physiques and how they looked after their bodies. I think Ronaldo was better suited to take punishment. Look, it's association football, but I think he was built better to absorb the punishment than, say, Messi, who's...
Does anyone know what the growth hormone injections Barca gave Messi are actually doing to his insides either, like, or his body?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be like a Spanish team to provide steroids for the players, but I won't get into that again.
Yeah, so I think it's a resounding Messi to go first.
Messi will go first,
And we'll all be left with egg in our face. So wait to see.
They should make a pact, him and Ronaldo, and just go, this is our last year, and just not come back.
That's what I would like. I would like to see them both go at the same time.
I'd love that. Yeah, that's what I'd like.
The same time in the same league would be incredible.
Yeah.
If they went out next year, at Messi at City and
United
Ronaldo at
City,
United, it would be incredible.
Yeah, that's like the end of goal, isn't it? Like,
my dad seen me play when I played Fulham.
What was his name again?
Santiago
Munoz or
Santiago
something.
Munoz.
It's just so good.
Hey, what a bad film.
Hey, there's a full episode in that. Sports movies.
We did it episode 2 season 1 way back when it was COVID and we didn't think sport would ever come back, and we thought it was about 6 weeks away from I Am Legend.
Yeah, we should probably delete those ones because they were fucking tragic.
Well, I recorded them through a potato, so
yeah, but that's neither here nor there. Look, it's a teething issue.
But the potatoes now a packet of potato, so
that's adaption. Wrap it up, gents.
Take us away, Beric.
Smashing. Thanks everyone for listening, as always. We started off a bit frosty this week, but as always, like this podcast, we've come full circle and we're all friends again. Thanks everyone. Doctor, for your research as always. Coach, for trying to start an argument amongst the guys. Sasquatch, the glue. And I have been Beric Dundarian. Thank you, good night. Much love, and follow us on Instagram. Busted Barstools.
That is why I did it at number 5. Are you kidding me?